I was thinking there were a lot more institutions that were lined up ready to go. But it turns out that the reality is they weren't lined up. They don't understand it fully. They're confused by it. They're confused by the mainstream media. And, I know people at Bloomberg and CNBC that understand Bitcoin, but they're overwhelmed with people who don't. And so there's constant misinformation. There's constantly, now, let me make it clear. Bitcoin has been a very volatile asset for a long time. And so when you're an institutional investor and you look at that, you're like, wow, this is extraordinarily risky.
In an interview with podcaster Joe Burnett, renowned financial expert, and investor James Lavish discussed market trends, institutional involvement in Bitcoin, and its ongoing adoption. Lavish shared his insights on Bitcoin's potential, drawing comparisons to gold and emphasizing the cryptocurrency's limited supply and growing adoption. He believes that institutional investors will lead the next wave of Bitcoin adoption globally. However, Lavish noted that acceptance has been slower than expected, even with the approval of Bitcoin ETFs. He attributed this to institutional investors being preoccupied with other investment opportunities, such as artificial intelligence and language learning models. Lavish also highlighted additional barriers to adoption, including institutional investors' lack of understanding and misinformation in the media. Moreover, negative narratives surrounding Bitcoin, such as concerns about energy consumption and links to criminal activity, have heightened career risks for institutional investors. Despite these challenges, Lavish remains optimistic that institutional adoption could drive further growth in the Bitcoin economy. Before we continue with the rest of the video, do check out daily 5-minute crypto newsletter with all the latest crypto and Bitcoin news. It's a fantastic analysis of on-chain crypto data and breakdowns, and the best part is it's absolutely free. They'll cover expert predictions, breakdowns of on-chain crypto data, and any breaking news you need to know, all in a nutshell. Click the first link in the description and enter your email to join over 50,000 others in becoming a better crypto investor right now.
What's going to be the next wave of global Bitcoin adoption?
Yeah, I mean, so as Bitcoin investors, adopters, we look at Bitcoin, we love to look at the 4-year cycle because of the halving. And it's normal, and that's the right way to look at it. The only thing is we've only had a few of them.
Yeah.
So the empirical evidence is very limited. There's not, but it's something to attach to. So that is important. The institutional adoption era, I think we're just now getting to the front door of that. So I admittedly was far more optimistic about institutional adoption as those ETFs were approved than I should have been. Even coming from that world and knowing this, and it's hard because when you study Bitcoin and you know Bitcoin, you understand and you really understand the true inherent value of it. You can't even imagine that people don't see this.
Yeah,
you just can't even fathom it. But then you go to the grocery store, you go out to dinner with friends, and you realize nobody's thinking about this stuff.
Yeah,
like nobody's thinking about. Okay, so you would think institutional investors would be searching for that next thing, searching. Well, it happens to be that the ETFs were approved right after this huge wave of innovation in language learning models, and AI took off. All the investors like this Bitcoin thing is growing. It's growing. It's getting more solid. It's getting more adoption. And you have some institutions that want to take advantage of that, bring it to their people, make fees off of that. You've got your Larry Finks and you've got your Fidelity, BlackRock, Fidelity, you've got Coinbase. They're looking to take advantage of that interest over here. But then all of a sudden, institutional investors went, oh, look, language learning models.
Yeah.
Look at this, all this AI. And it's not wrong.
Yep.
It's not wrong. And I wouldn't say that that's the reason there hasn't been quick adoption. I would say the reason there hasn't been quick, because institutional investors should be looking at a lot of things and really diving deep into a lot of things. I would say that the reason for this slow progress is that, okay, now we have the ETFs, but if you understand how institutional investors, how they will adopt a new asset class, man, it takes time. It takes time just for them to learn, for the portfolio manager himself or herself to learn what it really is, or an analyst that brings the portfolio manager, and the portfolio manager's got that, and then you've got to get the chief investment officer to adopt it. And so these barriers. Those barriers all came down with the ETF. Okay, so you would think, oh, they're all lined up, they're ready to go, which is what I was thinking. There were a lot more institutions that were lined up, ready to go. But it turns out that the reality is they weren't lined up. They don't understand it fully. They're confused by it. They're confused by the mainstream media. And, I know people at Bloomberg and CNBC that understand Bitcoin, but they're overwhelmed with people who don't. And so there's constant misinformation. There's constant, you've had a lot of virtue signaling going on in companies over the last decade. Hopefully that's calming down now. But because of that, you hit with all of the negativity about Bitcoin mining and how it takes energy, and anything that is worth anything takes energy.
Yeah,
that's the natural law.
Yeah,
right. So, but that prevented them from really digging. It was like, oh, we don't want to touch that. Then you've got Elizabeth Warren coming out there. It's the currency for drug dealers and human traffickers and evil people. And it's like, okay, well, so their career risk has been very high for institutional investors.
According to James Lavish, despite warnings from professionals and colleagues who labeled Bitcoin as a Ponzi scheme with no intrinsic value, he considered investing in it back in 2018. Lavish believes that many people still misunderstand Bitcoin, often thinking there's a better alternative or comparing it to Dogecoin as a reliable store of value. He argued that Bitcoin's value comes from its limited supply and increasing adoption. Lavish identified two distinct mindsets when it comes to Bitcoin: the gambler seeking quick profits, and those increasingly recognizing it as a trustworthy store of value. Despite initial caution, Lavish invested in Bitcoin and observed its growing acceptance and understanding. He also highlighted the significant difference between Bitcoin's market capitalization and that of gold. Let's return to the interview for more insights from James Lavish.
I was an institutional investor for 30 years,
Yeah.
and I know that I have peers who are like, what is he doing?
Yeah.
It's fine. It doesn't bother me. It's good. It means I'm heading in the right direction.
Mm-hmm.
And so, my experience was, even in 2018, I bumped up against Bitcoin a few times in 2018. I went to, I wanted to go out a little bit out on the risk curve. Now, let me make it clear. Bitcoin has been a very volatile asset for a long time. And so when you're an institutional investor and you look at that, you're like, wow, this is extraordinarily risky. That risk is decreasing as inversely, kind of as more money comes into Bitcoin, that risk is decreasing, that it's going to continue to be volatile. But anyway, I had some personal capital that I want to allocate. And I thought, well, I want to go out on the risk curve here. What's this Bitcoin thing? I think there's something there. And so I did as you normally do. I went around and asked my peers and the experts on the street, really the technology analysts and portfolio managers and hedge funds. And they're like, every single one of them was like, even if they said, I own a scrap, but I got it years ago, it's not worth anything. There's nothing there. Yeah. It's really just a Ponzi scheme. There's no inherent value, and it's going to go to zero likely. So I wouldn't do that. I was like, oh God, thank you so much for warning me off from buying Bitcoin when it was only like $3,000, $3,500. It was so helpful, But that's the attitude that you still see. People are like, 60,000 for a pet rock?
Yeah.
Why would you buy that? But it goes to your first statement, that they just don't understand it. Mm-hmm. They have no idea. They look at it and they say, well, there's no difference between this and Dogecoin. And the thing I always get, which is, why wouldn't somebody just make a new and better Bitcoin?
Everything's going up. Why should I buy Bitcoin?
Yeah. I think the answer there is, I think that everything will rise. Yeah. And Bitcoin will be part of that. And just remember, though, that Bitcoin is such a small asset. It's still only $1 trillion, right? So when you look at gold is up, depending on whether you include jewelry in there or not, which people have jewelry that they consider investments they have in their safe, Yeah. But if you look at that, it's 15 trillion. So Bitcoin's tiny compared to gold still. And if you look at all the assets around the world, somewhere north of 800 trillion, in investable assets. I mean, Bitcoin is just a fraction of a percentage of that. So there's two kind of mentalities that we're talking about. When you look at Bitcoin and think, okay, well, it's just another risk asset, like you're talking about. It's another GameStop. It's another, meme coin, whatever. It's just something else that I can gamble my money on because I'm trying to catch up. And that's one mentality. And we see it all the time. We see the gambler's mentality everywhere. I don't blame people. They feel like it's their last choice. Why do you think they go buy gas, they go in to get, a Diet Coke, and they go up the counter and like, oh, well, give me a couple lottery tickets.
Yeah.
Why do you think they do that? Because they think they're going to win the lottery? Well, because just the off chance that I win and that I can stop doing this grind, and I can get out. And so this little hope, and so that's one way to look at it. And it's been there. That's what Bitcoin has been for a long time to most people who are not true Bitcoiners. Yeah. But then you've got the other side, which is, oh my God, this money supply is inflating so rapidly. I need to put my money somewhere that I can trust it's not going to be inflated away, deflated.
Yeah.
Right. So, and that's the other camp. And I think that camp is growing. And as that camp grows and that understanding, those people, that it's kind of like a movement that people understand it.
Ethereum investors are closely watching MPEPE, an emerging cryptocurrency that is gaining popularity. MPEPE presents a unique investment opportunity by combining the Ethereum blockchain's robust infrastructure with the cultural appeal of memes. By leveraging Ethereum's strengths in security, scalability, and DeFi capabilities, such as decentralized lending and yield farming, MPEPE is positioned for significant growth and increased usability. Ethereum supporters recognize that MPEPE's integration with the Ethereum blockchain could lead to substantial wealth creation, making it a formidable contender in the cryptocurrency market. MPEPE offers Ethereum investors a fresh opportunity to achieve significant profits, thanks to its innovative blend of advanced DeFi features and meme culture. By building on Ethereum's established infrastructure, MPEPE benefits from one of the most reliable networks in the cryptocurrency space. Its unique approach is drawing growing interest from Ethereum investors, as the combination of DeFi protocols with strong Ethereum foundations creates a revolutionary investment potential. MPEPE stands out as an excellent choice for investors looking to build lasting wealth through its distinct fusion of cutting-edge financial services and cultural appeal. As we wrap up, what are your thoughts on this discussion? With institutional investors beginning to take notice of Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, what do you think will be the tipping point for mainstream adoption, and how will it reshape the global financial landscape? Please share your thoughts in the comments below. For more Daily Dose Crypto news, check out these 2 awesome videos on your screen. Click now and we will see you on the next video.